So I got married at the age of 22, and before I got married, we had um, 2+ years waiting to get parental approval, and those were the most difficult times in our relationship because it was not anything we had experienced before. Nobody prepares you for it. You don't even know that your parents are going to resist something until you are found in that situation. And because of that, I'm sharing this video so that you can take a thing or two out of it and probably learn how to navigate that season if you find yourself there. I know it's hard. I've been through it. Now we are 8 years after, and I can tell you that the journey ahead is way worth the troubles in the present, okay? Especially if you are really the right person. So let's talk about it. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's the one, the only Daniela Ukwa that you know, your fave. And in this video, we're talking about how to get parental approval for your marriage. Okay, so this is how it started, right? Everything was all fun and games until my graduation. And I'm going to do a video about telling my dad that I had a boyfriend. That was the most hilarious thing ever. Like, that experience was so hilarious. I wish I could get my dad on this channel. I don't know when, if he'll be open to it, but just to ask him all the things that were going through his mind at that time, in that moment, and even some days after. But anyways, I told him about, so I didn't even think I wanted to get married. That's the strange thing. It was my graduation, and I just told him that I wanted him to meet my boyfriend. And for some reason, my dad just felt like this was marriage. And I'm going to talk about how that also affected our journey. So it was not like my father didn't approve of our relationship. He did, but a year plus into our relationship, we decided that, you know what, we want to get married and all of that. We know that this is where God is leading us, and we are very, very sure. And then the time came to start planning the wedding. And now at this time, my husband had also told his parents. His mom was on board, very excited. My mom also was on board as well. She was rooting for us. But it seemed like the men were like, and this is where the logical aspect of men come in, right? They say that men are logical. So my dad was okay with it. I think his only challenge was, you know what, Chizzy, if you're going to get married, why don't you do your masters first, right? Or which one do you want? You're going to get married, pick marriage or you pick masters, right? My father-in-law, on the other hand, was really, really scared for my husband because my husband was young at the time. He was probably 24. Or even 23 at the time, and you just felt, what do you even know? Like, what do you even know about marriage? What do you even know about taking care of your family? What do you even know about living alone? Because at this time, my husband was still living in his father's house. So it was a very, very interesting period. And I'm saying interesting not because it was exciting, but I don't have any other words to describe how challenging that season was, right? And I know a couple of people who are in this season. I remember someone telling me how that they've also waited for over 3 years and their parents haven't even come around. I want to share how our own journey went and some tips that will help you navigate this season. The first thing I'll say is, you get there. Prayer is not overrated. Before you even go to your parents to tell them this is the person, you need to pray. Because like I said, you don't anticipate that your parents will resist. Unless, of course, there are already tribal biases with your parents or religious biases with your parents. Now, when I say religious, I don't mean I'm talking to Christian couples who believe in Jesus Christ. Of course, you should not be unevenly yoked, right? So I'm not talking about religious bias in the sense that you are trying to get married to somebody of another religion. No. I'm talking about religious bias in the sense of, people want you to marry from a particular denomination, Christian denomination, or things like that. So when you want to embark on this journey, first thing you want to do is to pray. You want to pray to God for guidance and wisdom, because you can never see what's happening. And sometimes it might not just be your parents opposing, it might just be the devil opposing God's will for your life. and trying to delay God's will for your life. Or it might just be that you just need to pray and seek wisdom on how to present your case, because sometimes you can be saying A and the person is hearing B just because of the approach, right? So we prayed, I had talked to my mom about it, and this is what I was saying, you have to also use wisdom. You know the person you're going to present it to. For my dad, I needed to get my mom's perspective as to how to present it and tell him about it. I didn't just go to my dad, Daddy this. I told my mom, this is what I'm thinking. I got her on board first, asked her about her, her thoughts, how should I go about it? And she just told me, oh, this is the good time after breakfast, oh, this is that, and it worked out well. Now we get to the crossroad where it's time for my father-in-law to also come on board, and he just keeps stalling. My father-in-law also had concerns, he felt like my husband was way too young at the time, and he was 24 or even 23 when he told him about his plans to get married. And my father was like, I don't get it, what do you know about marriage, right? And that's the part where I say, after praying and then you eventually meet this roadblock, you need to understand that your parents don't hate you. You need to also now seek to understand their perspective, because there's something they are seeing, or there are fears that they have, and sometimes they are legitimate fears that makes them, have this position towards you getting married, right? And you need to understand them. Why is it? You need to ask questions, you need to read and listen in between the lines, listen for what they're not saying. If they say, I'm just not ready for this, you can't just marry this, oh, what happened to the shop, or what happened to the business? Then you are hearing that they are scared that you getting married to this person will take you away from, upholding the family's business. Do you understand? So you can then be able to address things and discuss with them based on their perspective. That way you can reach them. So you have to show empathy for their feelings. Sometimes it might not even be anything tribal or religion. It can just be about the timing. Maybe they don't feel like this is the right time for you. Maybe they feel like you need to wait some more time to be more mature, right? And this is the part I'm going to say, that some of us need to let our parents know who we really are. Some of you are doing great things. Some of you are very mature. Some of you have phenomenal plans, but your parents may not even know the capacity that you have. And they're still looking at you like they're small baby girl of yesterday, or they're small baby boy of yesterday. One of the things that my mom said to me when my dad got introduced to my then boyfriend was that she said my dad just felt like I was telling him I wanted to get married, because he knew that I've not brought anybody home before, and that if I was to introduce someone to him, he just knew that I was serious about it. Right? And that's the confidence you want your parents to have in you. Position yourself. I know we do it a lot on LinkedIn, but how about within your family? Do they really understand your walk with God? Can they really trust? I remember talking to a lady, and she was talking about how her parents never questioned her decision for a choice of spouse, because they saw her over time make decisions with the help of the Holy Spirit, and all those decisions have come out beautifully well. So when she brought this person to get married, even though she was young, her parents were like, I could trust the decision. Right? So some of us need to build that credibility. Your parents are not just agitated for no reason. We need to spend more time to build credibility and also communicate to them in different ways. It can be as little as maybe living in your parents' house for now, but you're already showing signs of, okay, I'm able to manage a home, I'm able to plan meals, I'm able to, so your parents are kind of confident that if this person goes into another family, they're not going to embarrass us. For some of us, your parents are scared that by the time other people in the world, other families see who my daughter really is or my son really is, it might bring embarrassment to our family. So let's wait until this person grows and becomes more mature, right? To understand them. They don't hate you. Sometimes it's just their fears they're projecting. Empathize with them. Let them know that you understand their fears, and their fears are legitimate fears, but this is the decision that you're going for at this time. Another thing that we did was that when I remember my husband would call me in the morning and he'd tell me, babe, I just on my way I woke up earlier this morning because my father-in-law is an early riser. I went to talk to my dad, right? So you want to keep communicating. Have as many meetings as you can, but communicate timely and in a calm manner. You know when your parents are in the best mood. It's not when your dad is about to enter the car or your mom is about to enter the car, you tell her, hey mommy, that's my boyfriend I say you don't like, and he's coming to see you today. she's going to be upset. She'll be upset and angry. So you know your parents, right? Communicate in a timely manner, communicate in a manner they understand. If your parents are big on respect, maybe you want to even prepare a meal first, right? Or buy them something, or do something for them and tell them, I would like to seek an audience with you, I'd like to talk to you about something important. Say no, say it now, say that is very important to me. I want a time where it's convenient for you, a special time, I respect your time, and blah, 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 and then communicate it. Another thing you must always do in the communication, you must also share with them your future plans, because sometimes they are afraid because they have limited knowledge. Some of us are brilliant people. It's just the same way some people want to start businesses and their parents say, no, I can't give you this money, because they don't really trust your plans, right? And for some of us, we've taken our time to plan with our intended spouses. We've taken our time to strategize our future. Let your parents know, oh, that they understand you are really upset about this. I know that he's maybe Yoruba and we are Igbo, and there might be some tension, but these are the plans we have to mitigate that. His family has done this in the past. His family has, the family, they have a history of 3 people who are married into tribally and they're all doing successfully. They've never had external family interference. Communicate your plans, communicate what you're doing or what you have done to mitigate those fears or their concerns. It's very, very important. Why it is important is because you need to show your parents that you're serious. That this decision of marriage is not because you are either getting old or you've not found the right person, you've tried, or you just want to get married quickly. You need to let them know that I'm serious about this thing. I have taken thoughtful care. I have prayed about it. This is when the first time I prayed about it, so God said to me, oh, I have spoken to this person about it as well. And you have to be sensitive. We also mentioning external parties, because it may look like, oh, you're telling me that I've spoken to my brother about it and he's on board, and so automatically I should be on board. Be very, very sensitive to your parents. You know them more than I do, right? You know the things that can tip them off. But you must communicate at every point how serious you are and the active steps you have taken to ensure that the marriage has little or no friction for you and for your parents. So the next thing I'll say is that after you've done all these things, there is no guarantee that your parents are going to come on board. You might bring your strong reasons, you might bring your explanation, and your parents are just adamant. First of all, I'm assuming you have sought the face of God, both of you, and both of you are willing to embark on this journey that is challenging together. So what that means is that you are ready to face opposition, knowing that God is also backing you up. Please, don't even try to resist your parents if you've not gotten confirmation from God, because God can be using your parents to steer you in the right direction, especially when you have a history of not paying attention to the leading of the Spirit and God has to intervene with an external source. Okay, so I'm assuming that you really have taken the time out to wait on God and get clarity. Now you are experiencing opposition. You go back again and pray. Lord, you said this. Like you are literally praying according to the words that God has told you guys. So whether or not you've done all these previous steps doesn't guarantee their affirmation or their support. But one thing you must know is this: you have to be prepared to compromise. Find out what your parents are saying. For me, like I told you, my dad was asking me, masters or marriage, right? For some other person, for my husband, his dad was asking him to wait a little bit. Oh, I think it's too early. Is she pregnant? Why are you rushing? What's the problem? So you need to be able to compromise. If he says, okay, give me 3 years. I need you to give me 3 years until I know you are ready. And then you can say, Daddy, I'm happy to give you that, or Mommy, I'm happy to give you that, but I can only work with 6 months. I'm like, let them know they are considering them. Don't just say, no, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm old enough, I'm going to do this. Always honor your parents, because the Bible expects us, the Word of God expects us to honor our parents at all times. There is no excuse for dishonor in this whole situation, okay? So you must remain calm, and you must also be ready to compromise. Another thing I'll say is, if you are in a situation where God has given you particular timelines, it's not for you to go and tell your parents, God told me I'm going to marry in December, I must marry in December. No, it's between you and your God. You go in your closet and say and call things that be not as though they are. See, I can't even tell you guys how there was a time where for a couple of months back to back, my husband and I, then my fiance and I will meet every day and do Thanksgiving, thanking God for our wedding. We'll envision our wedding, we'll envision all the things sorted, because the main battle is not with your parents or the person resisting. These things are spiritual. The things that are seen are not controlled by the things that we can see. Do you understand? So don't go into this. Sometimes it's more than meets the eye. You go into it knowing that I have somebody that has the heart of kings in his hand, and just with one finger he can steer that heart like a river into his perfect will. So trust God to help you fight that battle. It's not going to be easy, but one thing you don't want to do is to go ahead with a marriage without your parental consent. In the Bible, we see parents giving out their children. That is God's order, right? And there's some times also that people have gone against their parents and it's ended up well. But we want to also not go for the exceptions. We want to follow through with what the word of God actually says about honoring our parents, and also our parents' role in giving us out in marriage. Very, very important. So please, I want to encourage you. It's not going to be easy. Like I said in our video with Nino and Lulu, so if you don't follow Nino and Lulu, my people, please follow their channel. I'll link it down below, where we spoke about this journey of waiting. And there I shared that I got engaged June of a particular year, and before I got engaged there was a 6-month period before my husband could engage me, because he had to engage me only when he had gotten his father's consent to be able to come for an introduction. So I got engaged in June of a particular year. That happened. After the engagement and the introduction, it was silence. Finally they started coming around. I got traditionally married March of the next year, and after that it was silence. A lot of approvals needed to be done, a lot of explaining. Now we did our traditional marriage in March. We were only able to get married, do our church wedding in November of that year. So if you do the math, it's over a year of actually being in the process of getting married. This is minus the months of seeking approval to even get engaged. Do you understand? But look at it, it's 8 years now, and we can tell you that that was worth the wait, because what happens to you is that you are not just fighting for your marriage, you are fighting together. It's very important. And how you guys fight together and identify the enemy together, which is not your parents now, right? It's the devil, assuming that God has, told you this is the way to go. You guys are able to apply that same principle to other areas of your life. So use this as a learning curve. Use this as a time to grow your bond together. Use it as a time to learn to fight together. Because in the middle of all this, don't expect that your partner's emotions won't get involved and feel like your parents don't like me. It's going to be there, but both of you must center your mind and remember, my partner is not the problem, their parents are not the problem. We are fighting for the will of God for our lives. So if you've ever gone through a struggle to get parental consent, I want you to share with our community. Let them know how you overcame it. How was that journey for you? How long did it take for you? Was it like mine that took almost 2 years? How did you overcome it? And if you are currently going through it, I want you to please read the comments and also leave me questions if you have any other things you want me to address, and I'll be happy to take them. Don't forget to like this video, okay? Give it a thumbs up because it helps the algorithm tell more people that there's valuable content on this channel, and also hit the subscribe button below and click on the notification bell, because then you're one of the first people to know when I drop new videos. And until my next video, bye bye.